This is a comprehensive guide to help your aim on Apex Legends by putting aim into categories to help isolate areas of your aim that are weaker than others, but also find out which are valuable to translate into actual play. This video is inherently going to be more mouse and keyboard catered, but the concepts will still apply to controllers, and I'll be sure to provide as many tips for those that are training specifically in the range as well. Voltaic benchmarks are a great way for even controller players to review different types of aim and moving targets. So in just a moment, we're going to look at those various categories, and we're going to apply that logic so when you're in the range yourself, you can think about which way to exercise and improve your aim. Disclaimer. Remember, as time progresses, everyone is improving. The same goes for me going from old masters 4 years ago, benchmarking again 5 months ago, categorizing into low jade. Over time, I've gotten back into masters to now almost masters complete and 4 to 6 grandmasters Voltaic. So let's keep pushing together and making these guides. I think they're helping, and let me know and comment down below what more you want after watching this video. Now let's show each category and brief footage of each category to help those even if you're on controller. Let's discuss the clicking category. Dynamic clicking is hitting targets that move. In Apex Legends, it could be hitting a strafe with a wingman on a strafing target or hitting a moving target in the air. Static targets is usually aim training against smaller targets to improve that refined muscle control. This is anchoring and hitting targets at a distance, specifically when you're on Apex Legends. Overall, let's discuss the tracking category. Precise tracking requires that smooth track that you're looking for. Precision, either in a small range of motion or a large one. For Apex Legends, this could be controlling a recoil or someone flying through the air with a smooth movement on an Octane jump pad, for example. Now let's discuss probably the most important here, which is also reactive tracking. This is the most common in Apex Legends, a target that is strafing left and right and causes you to have to react quickly with your aim, especially against targets with high movement. This is a very important category. We're going to circle back to this one shortly. Lastly, target switching. Speed category involves moving quickly between a target and building momentum. This has less of an application in Apex due to the time to eliminate an opponent, but it can be impactful because switching between one target to another to utilize maximum efficiency of your spray can also be very helpful, or whenever you're using more dynamic clicking and holding after the fact. Then let's finally discuss evasive. This category involves target switching but with a target that is dynamically moving. This is a lot more applicable to Apex Legends if you need to switch targets quickly in an end zone with lots of visual clutter and opponents and be more dynamic. Now, the best comparison I'm going to give is going to the gym and you see perhaps a Planet Fitness machine that highlights what muscle group this is going to work. Planet Fitness is the bare basics for that. There's always better gym equipment to isolate muscle groups or better exercises, better gyms, just like there are always better scenarios. Even being in the test range if you're on controller, it's like being forced to work at home and getting creative. It does not feel ideal, but you get the categories, which is why I mentioned these concepts being valid for everyone on controller. But again, it also applies more to M and K. Now some quick facts and most impactful categories for Apex Legends in order of my own opinion. Number 1 is static clicking. Number 2, evasive tracking. Number 3, precise tracking. And number 4, dynamic clicking. Now of course these categories do change depending on the role that you take on Apex Legends. Are you going to be shooting at more long range? Are you going to be in the fight as an entry fragger? Or perhaps you are going to be more dynamic using a different loadout that requires more flexibility. So let's discuss each of these, and while I applied my own personal opinion, let's break these down into a lot more detail, and you as a viewer yourself can also put these in a different order depending on what helps you most. One area most players avoid is static clicking. It is usually the area you understand the fastest and the one you neglect the quickest. Ask any aimer, it is their worst category on average. This is literally like avoiding leg day, so please don't skip leg day. I urge everyone to choose different static target scenarios and build speed. I promise my order comes full circle as you improve this category. Some scenarios to utilize are VT MultiShot 120 or 180, VT 4-shot advanced, VT 5-shot intermediate, and the one I want to focus on today that I think will help a ton is Side Shot, which is under New Aim Labs benchmarks. This scenario has 2 walls and a timer to hit the remaining targets. Now, one major tip is to not get complacent when training static. It is very easy to get stuck at a certain speed. This scenario requires momentum and pressure. Remember, if you slow down, you will be more accurate. If you speed up, you lose accuracy. Remember, at some point you need to push speed to build up muscle control. Otherwise, your muscles won't ever learn to trade against speed. Now, if side shot as a scenario does not feel good, here's some additional tips utilizing other scenarios. You can try utilizing a metronome or a song that gets you very pumped. Apply this logic in the test range if you are working out at home, so to speak. Shoot at the speed of the gun, and try not to waste time in between shots of a scout or a wingman as an example, because that fire rate can be pretty fast and require dexterity when switching between various targets at various ranges. Now, the problem with static clicking is that it gets very mind-numbing. Just like leg day, it's not very fun. Try different exercises and do a variety to push this muscle. But do not, I repeat, do not make the mistake all aim trainers or even pros do and avoid this skill set. It ties all into all the others to build speed, target acquisition, and control. My last tip is to ensure you do not stop your mouse. Imagine your aim is like Pong and bouncing between targets. I still have yet to master this, as it is my weakest category, and I finally see some light at the end of the tunnel. But seriously, I wish somebody would have hounded me more about leg day, which is also why dynamic clicking is very important, but I'm spinning a little bit more on static clicking for today and pushing this emphasis. Now let's segue to evasive tracking. I want to simplify this and go with anything PillTrack related or close strafes for evasive. While all the other variants are good, under evasive, one of the most common is that strafe in front of you. I find other categories just don't translate as well into Apex Legends. I will say any muscle improvement over time will showcase in-game, but for the immediate results, PillTrack type scenarios are what you want most. Just make sure that the scenario is not too difficult, because sometimes if it's too difficult, it won't translate, and if it's too easy, then you're not necessarily going to translate to Apex Legends. Now let's discuss some additional scenarios, such as one of the background or even a steady track. If you want to do these, you can track any octane jump pad or movement. I argue that PillTrack and a strafe in front of you is more difficult than an octane jump pad. You may think that a large range of motion is difficult at first, but refined control and speed together on small targets in the long run becomes more challenging. We compare leg day versus constantly doing arm day. Tracking is ultimately more fun and engaging, and to do this, it keeps us more engaged and the overall results are a lot more fun. The takeaways here: very steady tracks are perfect for Apex Legends. I have them listed on the screen here. At the end of the video and also in the description, we're going to have a playlist for you to play in Aim Lab if you prefer to do that. Now, maybe the intermediate range is healthier unless you want to push yourself to advance, so also keep that in mind. Try different skill sets and keep in mind that even the ones that we suggested, try for easier ones. Work your way up, don't push yourself too hard. Now, VT Maddie would probably kill me for putting dynamic clicking lower. I should probably boost this to number 2, but I wanted to spend more time on this category as well, and I didn't want to lose you guys and kind of have a little bit more of a dynamic conversation here. Because in tracking, once you get good, it really does translate healthily across everything I found. But dynamic clicking is kind of interesting. I have a Grandmaster score in one category under dynamic clicking, but I still struggle in another. Dynamic clicking has to be one of the most, no pun intended, dynamic scenarios. So let's take a look and compare just 2 of them, even with the Voltaic benchmark. Let's look at angle shot versus wave shot. Now, angle shot is one that we've been watching in the background so far and I have a Grandmaster score in, but it does not translate as well as wave shot. Wave shot is 100% more applicable to Apex Legends. This brings a wider range of motion and horizontal feel, which is what Apex Legends has more of, with tap strafing, super glides, and even just sliding into an encounter. So what does this mean, somebody who's watching this video? It means that you can master a scenario, but you still need to apply it in-game. The further the scenario is to mirroring in-game, it means that the better translation in you actually to improve. The further the scenario is from not mirroring the game, well, that becomes the other vice versa. So here's a hard pill to swallow. Some people who never aim train can be masters within the game itself, perhaps be bad at aim trainers. So why does this happen? Well, think of Apex as its own specific scenarios in aim training, and at various distances. You can only master them by practicing the real deal. Now the point is to not deter you from aim training. Let's cover some of the positives here. Aim training is great for the following reasons: great at isolating muscle groups, training when you lack time, warming up, or pushing your limits. This overall gives you more reps compared to in-game and can potentially shorten the improvement time, just like playing a sport versus gym time. Please find just the balance. Don't spend all your time in the gym or vice versa. This can help stimulate your brain by changing the scenery and focus. So let's answer the honest question. How would you train? Well, it kind of depends on the user and your resources, right? This is why I've never given any exact time unless I knew the person, but I'm going to try to give you some broad examples and help point you in the right direction. Do you have an aim trainer, or are you forced to use the range? Let's utilize the 15-minute rule on top of that. Sometimes doing something just feels like too much effort, like taking an exercise or starting a piece of work that we know is vital, right? Just like practicing violin. So try this exercise, chunk it down into a small 15-minute task, maybe 5 minutes here, 2 minutes here, 3 minutes here, and stop after 15 minutes if you want to. Don't go longer. If you don't want to, if your brain loses focus, stop, but create a schedule and create a routine. If you feel really invigorated and excited, keep going a little longer, but also know when to stop. Change it up. If you lack motivation, force a more obtainable schedule. Goals should be realistic, specific, and you should be able to measure it. So write down your scores. Take a look at in the range. At the very top of it, you can see how you're doing accuracy-wise. You can use that as a benchmark. So you have to get creative, especially if you're on controller. An example, let's give a schedule. I'll pretend one. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday as static/dynamic clicking days. Tuesday and Thursday as tracking days. Weekends are just for 5 minutes in the range. Your time will vary, which is why this is so broad. I don't want you to feel like you're watching this video and that you have to limit yourself. But also I don't want you as a viewer to feel like you have to force yourself to do too much. A major tip, if you feel like you have any sharp pains, revert back to your seating position and ergonomics, stop immediately, drink some water, and change up the exercise, and also allocate your time differently. The last exercise I'm going to give for today is regarding recoil control. Nothing beats going into the range, and actually the range, if you're on controller, is the best way to train this. But if you're on mouse and keyboard, we'll discuss some additional things. Some additional tips are learn each pattern and how it works. I got a short coming out tomorrow covering this, so check that out for pattern consistency. But for the range, go far and focus on how refined this movement is. If you struggle, use AimLab's Micro Star Track Precision to help you out, getting you used to the speed and that micro movement feel. So as you wrap up, I want you to VOD review and remember how you lost a fight. Was it dynamic clicking? Was it evasive tracking? Was it recoil at a distance? Or was it hitting somebody far away that required precision? This is how you learn mechanically what to fix, but also I implore you as a viewer to please ensure you take solid positioning. So let's recap. This is a longer video than I thought it was going to be. What did we learn? We utilized Voltaic to help categorize different levels of aim so you know what to aim train. We provided what categories mattered most. We detailed some exercises in those categories that are most applicable. We recapped how scenarios can translate poorly, but also help shortcut time. And lastly, we broke down a training schedule. Aiming is such a category I'm really passionate about. I feel like even in this video, we did not really do it justice in certain areas. So what area do you want me to cover more of? I want more details on a specific area from you as a viewer and what you learned most. Comment down below. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys all in the next one.